Now let's get into how and where the Amazon Fallout series fits in the overall timeline of the games. To understand where the show lands, we need to look at the chronological order of key entries in the franchise and the events that happened in each era of Fallout's history. 2102 Fallout 76, the earliest point in the timeline, set just 25 years after the Great War. Fallout 76 explores what happens when humanity first emerges from the safety of the vaults. Vault 76 opens its doors, sending dwellers into the Appalachian region to rebuild society from the ashes. Players uncover the first attempts to form order through groups like the Responders, who aim to help survivors, the Free States fighting for independence, and the Brotherhood of Steel, already taking shape as a powerful faction. The story follows these early pioneers as they face new dangers like the Scorched and the monstrous Scorched Beasts, creatures born from radiation. It's a story about hope, the struggle to rebuild, and the uncertain steps that would eventually lay the groundwork for societies and factions seen later in the Fallout timeline. 2161 Fallout, the original game that started it all. Set in the post-nuclear California, you play as the Vault Dweller that emerges from Vault 13 in search of a computer chip to fix their community's water supply system. You uncover the twisted experiments of Vault-Tec and face the Master, a mutant leader trying to force human evolution. This marks the beginning of the ideas and alliances that will later form the New California Republic, NCR for short. This is the series' first major government. While the NCR isn't officially established until years after the events of the first game, the seeds of its founding ideals like law and order and rebuilding civilization are planted here through early survivor communities and the Vault Dwellers' influence. 2241 Fallout 2. Set 80 years later after the first game, the NCR has grown powerful but politically divided, struggling to balance its ideals of democracy with harsh realities of survival. In Fallout 2, you play as the Chosen One, which is actually the grandchild of the player character in the first game. In this game, you're trying to find the GECK, which is short for Garden of Eden Creation Kit, to save your dying village. Along the way, you encounter slavers, raiders, and the remnants of the Enclave's sinister genetic experiments. This chapter explores the growing tension between rebuilding civilization and repeating old world mistakes as the NCR's expansion brings both progress and corruption. The rise of corporations, the moral compromises of power, and the shadow of the Enclave define this era in Fallout's history. 2277 Fallout 3. The series goes east to the capital Wasteland in Washington, D.C., where you play as the lone wanderer who emerges from Vault 101 after their father James, who mysteriously leaves the safety of the vault. Your search leads you to Project Purity, which is an ambitious plan to restore clean water to the wasteland. But along the way, you face the Enclave, the remnants of the old US government, who seek to control the project for their own vision of America. The story here balances legacy, sacrifice, and moral choice, which ends in one of the franchise's most emotional endings. 2281 Fallout New Vegas. My favorite installment in the franchise is set in the Mojave Desert. New Vegas dives into political chaos and clashing ideologies. The player, known as the Courier, is ambushed and left for dead before rising to become the ultimate wildcard in a battle to control the Hoover Dam. The NCR, Caesar's Legion, and Mr. House each represent a different vision for rebuilding civilization. The Courier's choices determine the fate of the region and highlight Fallout's trademark freedom to shape the world through the consequences of your choices. 2287 Fallout 4. The story takes place in Boston's Commonwealth and takes a personal turn. The sole survivor, which is the player character here, awakens centuries after the bombs fell, having been cryogenically frozen in Vault 111 during the Great War, and waking up far into the future to find a world transformed, discovering their spouse murdered and their infant son kidnapped. Their search for answer leads them to the Institute, which is a secretive faction responsible for creating synthetic humans, known as synths. The game explores themes of identity, loss, and morality, as players choose between factions like the Brotherhood of Steel, the Railroad, and the Institute, all trying to define humanity's future. Its blend of personal narrative and massive world building make it one of the series' most ambitious entries. And this is where we finally get to the event of the Amazon Fallout TV series, taking place after Fallout 4 in the year 2296, which is about 9 years after. The show's creators have confirmed that it is canon to the games and expands the existing timeline, while introducing new regions, characters, and moral conundrums. But still, some fans, they have pointed out what they believe are inconsistencies or plot holes between the show and the established lore, specifically involving New Vegas, debating its placement across forums and Reddit threads. The creators, however, have clarified where it fits in the timeline, explaining that it aligns with the canon while exploring storylines that the games only hinted at. The story follows...
My name is Lucy McLean, and I'm an active contributor to the well-being of my community.
A sheltered vault dweller living in Vault 33, located beneath the ruins of Los Angeles. She ventures out into the Californian wasteland for the first time, searching for her father after a sudden violent attack on her home. Along the way, she crosses paths with the Ghoul, a centuries-old bounty hunter with a mysterious past, and Maximus, a Brotherhood of Steel squire torn between duty and morality. Their journeys intertwine across the wasteland, filled with factions fighting for power and survival, just like in the games. Rather than rehashing old plots, however, the series adds to the Fallout mythos, showing how humanity continues to adapt long after the bombs fell. The show blends together fragments of Fallout's history with references to the Brotherhood of Steel, Vault-Tec, and the NCR, all while carving out its own story. So while you don't have to play every game to enjoy the show, understanding how it fits in the timeline helps reveal how every vault, every faction, and every journey is part of one long, beautifully broken timeline of survival and consequence.